I brought some different items for more Christmas time, and Gail's going to pass them around just to give you ideas if you haven't had a chance to make any. And I will say that any wood spalted or crumbly, you'll see a couple different trees. They'll sell 10 times quicker than anything else. The more irregular and fractured the tree is, people like them. I'm going to turn a small snowman, small tree, and then a little larger tree. And the items don't take that long, but it gives you an idea. And if you looked online, you'd likely find 1,000 different ways to do it. I wonder if we could get more, would it be possible to get that light on too, maybe? You just can't see in the shadows of the wood.
I think we're waiting for a lift to see the ball.
Oh. Okay.
What the heck happened here?
Fell out,
Never a dull moment. We get it turned on, that's the main thing.
Oh, yeah, that'd be nice.
It's not this one here.
Yeah.
Where do you need it?
Yeah, but like that would be perfect. Thanks a lot.
And I'll just hang this cord on here, right? Okay?
Yeah, thank you. I find using spruce, you end up sanding more than if you're using hardwoods, but the price is right and they actually can finish up looking quite nice. And then you can always embellish them by marbling the pieces or painting them or staining them.
What is your marbling technique?
Pardon?
What is your marbling technique?
It's, you have to buy a product called carrageenan. It's seaweed. And you can buy it at most of the painters, art and craft places.
Like Michael's?
No, I don't think you'd get it there, but pardon? Carrageenan. Yeah, and you mix it with water, and then you have to let it stand for a day, 24 hours, and then it's best to immerse your pieces of wood in alum water solution, and it'll make the paint bond better. And then once you've done that, you just drop different colors into the carrageenan mix and it'll float on top. And then you can, I made a rake out of just nails on a piece of wood and make all kinds of, and you'll see one tree I think that's been passed around, but you can get some amazing different colors, and you'll find some of the acrylic paints will float better than others. Yeah, Golden I found was one of the better makers for acrylic paint to stay on top. But it's quite a labor-intensive project, and then to figure out how to immerse them, say if you're doing a goblet or a bowl, so you aren't, so you can get it all in there, you have to basically attach a stick with a glue gun on the bottom, immerse it, and then clean up the bottom afterwards. But there was a lady 10, 15 years ago used to go around and demonstrate. She was kind of the foremost expert on it, but you can go online and see how it's done. Now I see guys set up in malls and people immersing their whole hand in there, and then they come out with all this fancy design, and then you drop it into a solution of water to kind of take all the carrageenan and crap off your arm, and you got this beautiful colored arm and cheek tattoo. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work. And I would recommend, if you're going to do it, get lots of pieces and start small. Those I usually charge about $6 for.
Okay.
And the Snowmen I charge $8. But because you ended up painting a face and putting some ribbon on around the belly of it, there it is there. And of course, a little more turning, creating the hat and that. I have sold them years ago for more, but I find that's kind of the common price now. And like you saw how fast a person can do one, you know what I mean? You know, you can do a lot in an hour or so. And it's just, from what I've kind of learned over the years, these are your bread and butter pieces, your high-end art pieces. When you sell one of them, that's a big bonus. But there isn't a whole crowd waiting in line for them. You know what I mean? If we were in San Diego, yes. You know.
How many markets do you do in a season?
You know, this year I've done, what, 3 already, I guess, since, yeah, and I've got one at Cochrane coming up on the 16th, and it's a big show.
In Cochrane?
Yeah, and it's, they have 100 vendors.
Yeah.
And I've never done the show. I was invited there about 10 years ago. There was 25 artists from Western Canada, from Manitoba to the coast. And worst blizzard that Cochrane ever had, it was in April. And I was fortunate, I sold 6 pieces, but most people never sold a thing. It was very sad, and it pretty well put the lady that put it on out of business, because it was just a disaster.
When you go to a market, how many things do you take with you? And range-wise?
As many as my space will allow me, which
That's how many.
Just one tableful, not what boxes and stuff?
like I'll usually have at least 3 tables. So it varies from place to place, but I've found some of the little towns are better than anywhere else, like Sherwood Park. You'd starve to death if you were going to sell anything there. They just aren't buying anything to do with art to speak of. And I would say St. Albert's a lot better. And like a little town out in eastern Alberta, Chauvin, maybe 40, 50 people there, but big farming community. I sold 1,106 in 6 hours. You just don't know.
$20?
Yeah, I've sold them for 25, but 25, but 3 years ago, I couldn't make enough of them, and the gnomes, I sold 300 gnomes in the month of November that year. But you're lucky if you sell one today. You know, they've made unless you happen to hit a spot that people haven't saw them, you know. That is very free flowing. And then, like my bigger, well, I've got a larger snowman. It's maybe making its rounds, but I would sell them for 25, eh? And then those, Bert made a bunch of them last year as well, those little lanterns, and yeah.
What were you getting for those?
20. Yeah. Yeah.
I made 100 of them last year.
I believe it. Yeah.
My friends and family list is getting bigger and bigger all the time.
Yeah.
Ken, did you say this one was 20?
Yeah. And like contrasting woods, like those aromatic cedar pieces, people are more attracted to that kind of stuff rather than just all one color piece of wood. So if you can find, like we don't have a lot of spalted stuff here, mainly birch. You'll find in places sometimes you get multiple colors in birch, but a lot of them are just more black streaks. Or
Ken, the finish you've got on that lantern on the top?
What is the top here?
oh, that is it's actually a powder that I put on that particular one.
So glue and then powder?
Yeah, I'll use the glue that you use for doing gold leaf, and then sprinkle that on and then blow off the excess.
So that's $50 now.
Eh? Well, you wish. I've got a bad habit, I like using points, and so you have to be careful at times. some people, you know, might burn a line on the upper slope of the pad, or some people paint them a different color, and there's no end to what you can come up with. I brought this piece. I'll do a little, well, I could do either a big snowman or a tree. I'll likely just do a tree, but it's got a bit of spalt in it. There's a lady in Sherwood Park. When I do a show there, she's always checking to see the oddball ones. That's what she's after, like those trees and different things with the spalt. She likes to keep adding them to her collection. Any questions before I do this last piece here?
Put a finish on those when you market them? Or just like they are?
No, well, with the snowman, I'll, like you maybe saw one that Gail passed around, I'll do the face. On the bigger snowman, I even make the nose and paint it the orange shade. And I make the scarves, but the little ones, I just put a piece of ribbon around the kind of what would be the waist.
Do you make your own scarves?
I do. My wife didn't all of them until she passed away, and so I had to learn.
Yeah, colored height things are excellent with that. They're easier. You don't have to tie them. You just twist them.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Yeah, yeah. Yes, some of the ribbon is easy to work with, and some is so slippery. it. Like this one, I've made them kind of rounded instead of convex, you know. You can play around. Just depends what tool you use and how you use it.
One's a swamp screw, one's a white screw.
Yeah. Too strong.
You just parted it off a different way.
But there's always a way to recover. It's happened before.
You did it on purpose. Absolutely.
So Ken, do you like to finish with the point at the headstock, or do you like do you always, or is it just
Yeah, you could do it either way, but I for some reason, that's kind of how
That's how you go?
I do it.
Yeah.
I have done it the other way, but I like this way, being I'm right-handed and but it would work for sure. Did it again. You'd figure there'd be less pressure at the back end than the front end, but Now that one's a little rugged, but it's got some character.
It looks like it's great skew practice.
Pardon?
It's good skew practice for making these.
Yeah, it is. Like, I know a lot of guys don't like showing, using the points, but you get onto it if you spend a little time doing it. And this wood is pretty punky. This piece, that didn't help, that stress on the nose there. But
That's good recovery though. Good recovery. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, folks, Stu Bremer was in the building.
likely fraud.
Like the shots on the minute column.
Do you ever use branches?
Pardon?
Do you use branches, greenwood or branches for your tree branches to,
Oh, for, yeah, any of it'll work good. Yeah. What I do, I go up to where they're building houses and pick up some scraps, spruce for a lot of it, and I've got, you know, other things, but to replace the things I've got costs a lot of money nowadays. So I find for a lot of this stuff, other than unique woods like that aromatic cedar and things like that, if you can find spalted wood that isn't too far gone, it's you can use any of it and it'll turn out nice. And if you're using real good hardwood, you know, you hardly need to sand with, if you're using a skew, or what do you call those, fingernail tools, they'll just cut her nice and clean. Well, that's about it, fellas. Thank you, and
thank you.
thanks for help setting up.
Good job.
Any questions for Kim?
The bells that you made, Ken, were the Carabana
The which?
bells?
No, that's aromatic cedar. Like that they'd make hope chests and that out of. But these, you know, they were, most of the pieces you can buy are small. Bob Pugh gave me a piece of some he had gotten from someone else, and they were about 4.5-inch diameter. And I showed Gail earlier, I made a small vase and a taller one, and they were had big inclusions in them, so they look kind of neat. But if you like everything perfect, no, you wouldn't like them. But the more unperfect I find, the bigger the seller.
Ken, I don't think we got these captured on camera, so I was wondering if you could go through them on the camera.
Oh, okay.
I'll just make sure that we're recording this. So, there you go.
This snowman was a piece of spalted birch, and it had some nice character to give a little profile to the body, and it's fun making these noses. And
Was that green wood when you turned it?
No,
No?
it was not 100% dry, but it was quite dry. And this is just another piece of the spruce, and paint the hat and put a few dots on, and you got a face. And
For that nose, do you drill a hole and put it in the?
yeah, that's the best I found. And these lanterns, well, Bert had found on Amazon these specific tea lights that they have a memory, and they'll run for 6 hours and then they'll shut off for 18. And he had some go, I think, 7 months of life. So if you had them in a bedroom for a small child at the proper hours, it would be something they might like and be handy to give a little light when you went in the room. Yeah, and this was another piece of birch, but it was very fragile wood, but yet my wife used to collect them, so people didn't get a chance to buy them, but that's why I still have a few. And yeah, this one I saw this piece today, so I quickly turned it before I came, and it'll sell in 5 minutes. You know, those are the ones that people love. These take a bit more work, but and just kind of make some shingles on with your wood burner. And these little birds you can buy at Michael's.
Did you add the roof after the fact?
Yeah. I make the body, and it's hollow, and then I make a roof, and then like sometimes I'll use one piece for all, but I use 2 different pieces for this, and then just did a little bit of wood burning on top just to give it some contrast. And you can buy these little eyelets at Lee Valley. They've got about 4 different sizes. And this kind of little icicle snowman. And there's always, you get 100 people and you get 100 people with different ideas of what they want. So it's good to have a little variety. And this of course was the marbling. And yeah, these bells was their aromatic cedar, and they with the contrast of the light and the dark, it's got more eye appeal. I've found over the years now. This was kind of my rendition of an angel out of one piece, and they seem to be a fairly good seller too. And I have another one that I've done, and I use 2 magnets, and I've actually got the wings a separate piece, but the magnet will stick them on, and they're more fragile, so it's nice that for traveling and for people taking them home, because they can put them in two different pieces, and then the magnet will just stick it on right where it belongs. Yeah, and this, of course, was the little snowman with some ribbon. And
And so is that like a jiffy marker that you paint the face, like the eyes?
yeah, for like this one I noticed the orange for his nose is pretty faint, needs to be touched up, but yeah, I just use
black ink.
Yeah,
Don't want it.
because
Now, do you put it before you finish, or you put it on?
I try and just give it one light spray after it's dried. If you do it too soon, it'll smear.
Okay, so you ink first on the rough wood, and then just a quick spray?
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's got to be dry or else it, just the contact, it'll smear, right? Yeah, I've got a few other items, but I figured this would give you some ideas if you're interested that you could try developing your own style or use this, whatever.
The other Christmas trees.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. And yeah, there's still some scraps if anyone wants them of spruce if you want to play with them, make something, or just practice on them.
I went experimenting with the base of the wig stand, and
Very good.
I've put a epoxy medallion on the top of that. This is just finished with one coat of varnish spray on, so it's not very shiny.
How'd you make your medallion?
I made my medallion using a silicone mold.
Oh, that's in silicone? I mean, epoxy mold?
Yeah, so basically it's a muffin mold, the silicone muffin molds, and that's kind of what it ends up being, that coming right out of the mold. That's the muffin tin, and then this one is a 2-bite brownie. So just those little kitchen molds, and yeah, mixing some different colors. Speaking of epoxy, we got those wonderful pill containers, and I've made medallions out of the epoxy. So multicolors, got a different color there, different sizes. I also did a couple in cherry. So this is just a cherry one. It's hard to, you got to look at it closely. It's got a really nice green. Again, just a varnish, spray on varnish finish, and all different sizes. And this is a tea bag cozy. And I did the pyrography. So this is my own drawing of a tea pot. And I think it's interesting. This is a very small little rim on the bottom. So I would call this a mini platter. Next.
Tara, where did you get the cases that you put them in?
Oh, these are the back of Stu's truck. So this, not last meeting, but the meeting before, Stu had picked up a bunch of stuff from
Brian McAvoy.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so there was pill containers, there were keychains, key fobs, yeah, so quite a few things. And these just happen to be the easiest thing to make, a turned item to put on of the ones that I got. The other stuff is a little bit small.
Tara, when you did your epoxy, did you buy the little kits out of Amazon, or do you have a liter of the stuff?
Okay, well, my son and I built an epoxy table top countertop, and this was just the leftovers. So that came from Windsor Plywood, the big kits from Windsor Plywood, whatever they were selling. And this was what we didn't use in the table.
Right, cool.
Just taking these little boxes that we got from Brian Martinwood. I did the same thing. I made little wooden ones, and I used my embellishment tool to put a little bit of embellishment on it. But I also did a video on how to make the cabochons out of really thin wood. This is made out of flooring, and so when you make them in this size, it's not too bad. This size is a little bigger. Figure out how to do this. This happened to be a magnifying glass. So I don't know how many of these I got half a dozen of these. So they were kind of interesting when they opened the box and found out it was a magnifying glass. But there was also a bunch of these real small pins that have a little clasp on the back. And so I just had to try making real small cabochons to put on a pin. And they're just fun to do. And if anybody wants some of these cases, I've got a box full of this size and a box full of this size. So if somebody needs some, I'll definitely share them. But I'll way more than I'll ever use. So just give me a shout. And, I don't have it with me tonight, but give me a shout and we'll make sure you get some. That's it. Thank you.
Well, I tried my hand at we call it Celtic knot. So that was quite interesting. The fact that from a block of let's say 3x3 maple, first cut one side, let it dry, and when after you glue it, and then you have to try and cut the other side and adjust the X so it, because it's boards that you glue, and then you do it on the other side. So that was quite eventful, and they turned out
5 or 6.
What kind of glue did you use for that?
Tide Bond 3. Yeah, and you have to be careful on how tight you put the wood together. It slides very easily.
Oh.
So, and because this part will be hand grain against fiber grain, so it was quite the stressful moment to clamp the pieces together to make it stay, and try and get to the X that lines up also. So they don't, there's only one that lines up perfectly, the other side doesn't, just a little bit off. But there's many videos online that shows how to do it, and I picked one and turned out not too bad.
It's a good technique for making pens too.
Yeah, just, I'm not, making pens would be a lot smaller than this, right? I was thinking of making a plate with this, but I can't find the time to do it right now. And I made a couple of wing stands there. It's unknown species, so but it was fun. Thank you. Great.
So I just made a couple of just pens, and the story behind this, so 2020, COVID, and you're at home, so William Woodwright, I order a couple $100 worth of pen kits, and then you just pack them away somewhere. Can you, where am I? Yeah, there you go. You pack them away somewhere, and then you find them again when you're getting solar panels put on your house because you had them stored in this, anyway, whatever. So, and then the wood species is just a variety. I made some dizzy bowls in the second year of COVID. And then I had a bunch of little cutoffs that I threw in the garbage can. And then I looked at them and I know those are pen blanks. So all this is already glued up, and then I just, you know, if you've ever made a pen, that's what this is, right? And so, yeah, so there you go. So that'll be some Christmas gifts, and if you've never made a pen, it's a really interesting thing, and it can be quite intimidating when you first think about it. But once you've done one or two, you know, something like this, you know, the actual turning of the wood takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes. You have to buy some specialized things to get to that point, but once you've done, and then, like I said, a CA finish, which I learned from Gord Langer when Lee Valley Tools used to do their seminars. So I did a thing on turning a pen out of antler, and then Gord had a part of his presentation was doing a CA finish, which again, it's a multi-step thing, but it works. I like it. It works quite well, and you know, brings the color out, and theoretically, the oil of your hands doesn't wear out the finish, which some of the other finishes, if somebody uses a pen a lot, you might end up with quite a bit of wear on it. So anyway, there you go.
Hey, got a couple of bowls. This is maple. It had a slight hole or dead wood in there, so I chipped that away. It was just a round blank that I purchased quite a while ago, because it was probably about, and it was about $5.95. And it was about this thick, and I'm going, oh bloody hell, that was pretty, yeah. So it was a $5.95 bowl with a bit of epoxy in the middle with a light blue, and so on the bottom I just did the little what's that tool we call that? Oh jeepers, I forget his name.
Sorbet. Spiraling tool.
No, not the spiraling one. Who's the guy out of Vancouver that did this type of work, like for doing ball patterns and what they call basket weave? What's it? Yeah, I can't. Anyway, so this one went uptown with this one. Okay, there's a story behind this one. The wood to this was stored for about 8 years, I think, in somebody's shed. And you know, I have that thing where I will open a door and the wood just rolled right out, right into the back of my vehicle. And so this piece, as you can imagine, is like, you know, it was a fair chunk. The sister to this piece, you probably, if you probably remember or not, that I had an ash dipping bowl, and so I'd made like a bowl, and then in the middle I cut out a core, and then I used a sorbet tool in the middle to put a little pattern in there, and that was the sister to this one. Now this is Daddy Bowl. And out of this one piece, cut out two other pieces that I didn't think I could do. But I said, do you want to pop over for coffee, Bert? And yeah, why? You got that tool that kind of makes other bowls? What do you mean? And I said, that lovely thing that goes round corners. I ain't got one of those that goes round corners. And he said, oh yeah, okay, I'll bring it over. So I learned how to core a bowl. Now, my intention was to have it put on a screen to show the piece on the lathe before I even started turning it, because it was just hacked up with a chainsaw. And when I mounted it on, it was like I've got 16. Yeah, 16. I got a 16-inch swing on it, so I couldn't turn it. And I had to keep going around like this, bit by bit, to try and find a flat spot that I could actually anchor the damn thing. And then guess what? You can't turn it, right? So I had to do well, I get my big saw and so I've got a photograph of that, and I'll add that to something at some point in time. But you know, like I've got 3 bowls. Got daddy bowl, mummy bowl, and the small one is to the kiddies.
What's the wood, ash?
Yeah, that was ash. Yeah, and it's got finished with Osmo. It's got what did I do? I think I did 6 Osmo on the inside and 5 on the outside, because I said, oh, okay, I've done enough Osmo. It's expensive, like people say, Osmo. However, it goes a heck of a long way. So you don't use much. Now that jar of Osmo so far, so your jar's yay, and I've used about this much. I've done that bowl, the bowl previous to it, and some other items. I've used about this much Osmo. So if you break it down, it's not that expensive, unless you want to go wipe on poly, and then you're paying what now, $27 for a wipe on poly. Okay. All right. Thank you. I can talk about mine.
Okay, I made a segmented bowl here, and so this is made with tapered segmented pieces. So you set it up with on a table saw. I made with the segments on a table saw. So it's set up with an angle on the board you're cutting against, and an angle on the saw blade. So you find the right angle, and then you can get perfect fitting segments around here. And then the other parts here, I cut, they're just made with rings, and the rings are cut using an easy seg jig, which fits on your table saw, gives you perfect joints as well. And I'm not sure, it's made out of African mahogany, babinga in the spacers here, and then maple for the thin pieces.
How do you get those strips in the middle there?
These ones?
The small, narrow ones.
Those are just veneer.
Oh, is it?
I took maple veneer and cut veneer, and then as you're putting it together, you put the veneer pieces in. And it doesn't change your angles, it just changes the diameter of the hole. So you make it fit without the veneer, and then you can put it in after, and it just makes it.
Okay, so the stripes with the veneer, then, is that just the edge of the veneer?
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, just flat pieces put in there.
Good type. Pretty impressive. I hope you used
African,
it
what
tight
kind of
one,
wood?
yeah.
What kind of wood? African mahogany.
Oh, mahogany.
Yeah. And then I like segmenting, so I made bells also. And this is done with, again, with the easy seg jig, and you set up and cut. I think I have 8 pieces here, so you'd use I think 8 pieces where there's a 45-degree angle on your jig. And once you set it up, you get a nice fitting thing all the way around. I glue it together, and the way I turned this is I held it on one end and turned this end of the bell, turned the hollow part of the bell, made a little bit of a recess in here so then I could grab it with an expanding jig, and then turn the back end of the thing as well. And then of course these were turned separately, the handles, and I put a clicker in, which is your favorite wood, Bert. It's that really hard wood that you gave me.
Tomorrow?
And that's it.
Well, this is my first attempt at making a pepper grinder. I actually started this in April, and then my health went downhill for a bit, so I got back to it. I have some zebra wood in here, some walnut, maple, and cherry all glued together. I turned it, and then I can't remember his name, but we were at the Christmas dinner, and I was telling him how I like how people burn. He told me he just uses a string. So where all the joints were That's where I did it, and I just burned it with a rope in there. And I meant to look before I left home today, but it was a paste that I finished it with that Stu put me onto. I can't remember offhand what it's called, but it's just a paste, so and it works, and yeah.
So I was inspired last month to try and urn. Ken had brought in an urn made with epoxy, so it inspired me to try one. Tried this in my new pressure pot that I bought a couple months ago. I tried putting these holes in them using the indexer on the lathe, and what I learned from that is they need to be bigger for the epoxy with no light in it. The color doesn't come out well enough on those holes. There's two different colors of epoxy. The red comes out better than the blue. But it's a piece of apple that I had. I used the top with a piece of wenge, and I bleached it. I had seen a video online for bleaching wenge, and it really pulled out the wood grain out of the wenge. Yeah. So you put the bleach on it, you let it sit for I think half an hour, and then you just let it dry off. And the finish darkened it again, so I might let it bleach even longer next time, but that came up well. The other thing on finishes, I tried, somebody had brought in a piece last time with tung oil. I had tried the polymerized tung oil. I didn't find it all that good, but this is the pure tung oil. Has 5 coats on it, and I find that really adds a depth to the wood grain. And lastly, the thing that I've tried is a different type of fitting inside. This is it's about 3 inches in diameter on the outside. It's a spigot connector for water tanks or rain barrels.
Oh, sure.
And it actually has outside thread and an inside thread. The outside thread is reverse thread, and I thought, well, that isn't going to work when you try to go. It's counterintuitive to go the wrong way to twist it. So I used the inside thread instead with just some ABS pipe fitting. So that's my urn.
How long between coats with tung oil?
These recommend at least 4 or 5 days, and I tried to wait at least 4 or 5 days between the coats of tung oil. I have no idea whether that makes a big difference or not.
Yeah, I've used tung oil a few times just on small items, and I did a couple of lidded boxes, and I did the tung oil on the inside as well. But the only thing is, like the outside vented off, but after a while when I thought, I'll give that to one of the grandkids. I opened it up, give me neck. The inside hadn't vented off yet, so it's been like now 2 weeks, and it's still got a tung oil smell to it. But like you said, it's a great finish to polish up as well. But it does smell.
Yeah, the last coat was 3 days, and you can still get the
Did you use the lilac color for your main epoxy?
No, those the metallic pigments, the red and the blue. No, the blue is, if you look at it close, you can see the metallic blue in there. I don't remember what it's called, but they have a series where the metallic, there's a metallic pigment.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
No, I didn't bring anything.
Okay, I only brought problems. And I got a feeling, I'm hoping, from the discussion that went on earlier, that maybe some of them will be solved when I leave. This is Ken's, okay? This is my 6th attempt at a bent tree. But the problem is, it keeps chipping on. And is the wood too dry? Why is it? And I had it in maple, it was doing the same thing. No?
How does the grain
going in that piece? I don't know. But I've done lots of trees and I've never had that before. Same thing. my first attempt at doing some layering, but this one keeps chipping on the downside. I take it off, I fill it with sawdust, whatever else, and it just keeps chipping out. Not on the top, but on the bottom. The same thing happened on this one, where it kept chipping right on the glue line.
You know how you can stop it to a certain degree? You take your utility knife and cut a
Do you want to use a
bit of an angle.
Use the microphone.
So it won't grab. Yeah, like to
Ken,
keep bark. To keep bark on, even if you use a utility knife and cut on an angle, then it won't grab. It's the grain of the wood. In this case, it's a problem. But like if you want to keep bark on a piece of wood, if you're making a saddle bow, you'll never keep the bark on unless you do it.
Can you fix it with speed or anything?
Pardon?
Can you fix it with speed or can you go faster or slower to make it go
This
away?
is about 1200 that I've been using on this.
Yeah, like it's just that there's so much grain to this walnut. It looks like it makes it bad, eh?
Okay.
How sharp are your tools?
Yeah.
And what tool is it there?
What do you mean use a utility knife? Where?
Okay. No?
What tool are you using?
About a half-inch bow gouge.
And how sharp is it? No, a serious question. It is a serious
It'll have a
question.
big effect on it.
Yeah. No, okay, I hear you.
Yeah, I mean, it's, all these little things come up and get you, and that's great.
And the other piece of advice I needed is I brought this in for Ken to help me out decide what to do with it. He's decided he'll help me core it, and maybe by next April I'll bring it back and we can see what comes out of it. Thanks.
Wow, what a
Now,
nice
what is that?
work.
We know it as Manitoba maple.
Manitoba maple? I planted one last year, I don't know if it'll be good next year.
It'll take a year or two.
Yeah.
And who owns this big round thing in the middle?
Bert, would you mind explaining a little bit about that ball? You know about it too.
Well, the only part I know about this is, I think,
Microphone.
Looks like it had been an earthquake in the world there, Jack.
I went up to visit Jack one day, and he had this block of wood sitting on his lathe. It wasn't this shape when I seen it at that time, but it had this big crack. And I took one look at it, and I turned around and walked away. Not really, but Jack ended up, how long did it take? A couple months to whittle away at it?
About years.
Yeah, well, maybe about a year. And it came up like this. But it had a spigot on this end, and it had a spigot on this end. And he was wondering, like, well, what do we do with it now? How do we get rid of those spigots? Because he did all the turning between centers. And so I volunteered to see if I could come up with something. I took it home, and Stu and I looked at it, and I was going to build a donut chuck to hold it on the lathe, and then I'd have full access to do whatever I wanted on both sides. And Stu and I were looking at it, and he said, that's a lot of work. Why don't you just do it between centers, take it down small and then sand it? So it took me about 20 or 30 minutes to do that. And got rid of the spigot on the bottom and the spigot on the top. And then I gave it back to Jack.
It's a really cool piece.
What kind of wood is it?
Cedar.
Cedar, yeah. This is really, really interesting thing.
Yeah.
A little bit out of balance.
A little bit out of balance. Just a little. Yeah. But
Thanks, Bert.
Jack was asking me what he should put on it for finish.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to suggest. What, like, to keep the color in the way it is, what would people suggest to put on it?
I wouldn't do anything with it.
Oh, no.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good the way it is.
That's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oil.
Peace.
As big as that is, and as lopsided as it is, how fast can you turn it?
When I was turning it about 300 RPM. And I'm not sure, how fast were you turning it when you turned
I
it?
don't know, not much more than that, I don't think.
Because you were between centers and had really good spigots. I was turning it between centers and took it down to a 1/4 inch on each side, so I didn't want it to fly off the lathe.